Welcome to The Overcomers, where stories of victory and faith shine bright. Join us for a powerful new episode as we sit down with Ruby Muza, a devoted mother of five, speaker, author, and mentor who has overcome so much in life to now help others take control of their happiness and thrive. On this channel, we celebrate the strength within us all. Get ready to be inspired.
Well, I'm honored to be here today with my friend Ruby Muza. Ruby, thank you so much for joining us on the Overcomer YouTube channel today.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Jen. I just love you and everything that you're doing. So I love partnering up with amazing people like you.
It is mutual. It is mutual. Well, if you're listening today and you don't know Ruby like I've had the pleasure of getting to know her, just a few things about my friend as we get started. One, she's a devoted mother of five, a speaker, author, and mentor, joining us from San Antonio, Texas. She's overcome a lot in life, and now she's on a mission to help people take control of their happiness and thrive. But what I'm blown away most by you, friend, is your heart. You are so authentic. I've had the pleasure of being behind the scenes of everything Ruby is doing, helping her brand, and in all of our conversations, there is one common powerful thread. She truly believes in people, and she cares about helping them where it matters most. And I know that that belief comes from a deep-seated belief in everything that you know your God can do and has done because you've seen it happen. So take our listeners on that journey. Tell us, how did you go from where you once were to everything that you're doing now?
Oh gosh. So, there's been a couple of pivotal points in my life where I just have felt the shift, have felt like God was moving and it was time. It was time to move. Have you ever felt like there's more or there's a different thing you want to be about, but you don't know exactly like what the walls are that are keeping you from everything that you say that you want? I've been there a couple of times in my life where I felt stuck and lost. And, as a photographer for 20 years, I had gotten that part of my life solid. Like I happened to discover that I'm an artist at heart. And so photography was my jam. It was my thing, became super successful, super fast. And then one night out of the blue, I'm walking through the double doors of a country club and some amazing people that were having a ton of fun are walking behind me and one of them locks eyes with me and says, "You're a wannabe," just like that.
Mm.
And in that moment, it just shocked me. It shocked my whole system because I had been the kind of person that had created success in my business, and I was happy with my business, but then it got to the point where I became so unhappy in my personal life. Like I knew that there was so much more to me, and I knew that there was so much more to the promises of God and the abundance, yet I didn't feel abundant. And I kept questioning, well, why? I had this belief that that's for other people, like that happiness was for others, especially when it came to personal life and to like relationships. And so that night when he said that to me, it just shocked me and it caused me to go inward. I now look at it as a real gift from God. It's happened to me a couple of times that like someone has said something to me and it literally stops me on my tracks. And so as I asked some quality questions, I decided, you know what? Why do I believe that? And I started to really unravel like what's the difference between me and other people? And with our listeners, like there's no difference. The difference is like did you get the skills? Did are you who you're called to be? And when I realized that I was playing small in my life and that I really wasn't giving everything to the areas that I had desired my heart in, I literally was like, oh, so I'll just get some personal development. And so I went on a journey. I went on a journey of discovery and I figured out that I read an amazing book. A best friend of mine handed me a book that absolutely changed my life. If the how-tos were enough, we would all be rich, skinny, and happy. And when I read the book, I was just like, are you kidding me? Like, I could be skinny, I could be rich, and I could be happy, I'm in. Like, let's go. And so I read the book and it started to challenge some of the belief systems that I honestly had. I really did think that happiness was for others. And I really did think that, I was in charge of my life and that I was in control, right? So as soon as that challenged me and I took the personal development course, then I went on this journey and I started to create exactly what I wanted to create. And I found Mr. Right. And we both like to look at each other and we like to say we hit the jackpot. And so then what happened was I discovered that, wow, if I can do it in this lane, then I can do it in this lane. And then it became a lot of fun, friend, because for the last 17 years, I've been spending my life helping others create their happy and go from where they're at to where they're meant to be. I figure I've done it, so I'll help others. And then literally it just started to snowball. And it's been the funnest thing to help other people get what they want.
Mm. Man, how true is what I said at the beginning of this interview as you share that story? Because you took a moment in your life where someone truly challenged you with what they said about you. And not only did you use that moment to say, hey, let me discover what it is about this phrase that is hitting me so deeply, to pull out the true excellence inside of you, to take you to that next level. But you didn't stop there. You didn't want it just for yourself. You wanted it for other people too. So when I talked about your heart and how authentic it is at the beginning of this interview, that proves it right there. And that's the beauty, I think, of what you're doing now. You're not keeping all of these lessons, as painful as they were to go through it yourself, to yourself. You're wanting to share it with the world, with which that's such a generous mindset that you have.
Thank
So,
you. Thank
so
you.
tell us more about what it is that you do now.
Yeah, so, the last thing I ever thought would be that I would be in front of the camera. I was a photographer for 20 years and I loved it. Absolutely. It was bliss. I loved it. And people would say, no, you belong in front of the camera. And I would say, no, you got that wrong. I'm like behind the camera. I'm super happy to be behind the camera. But what I found out about myself was that things happen in our life in our childhood and I went from being the kind of person that played full out and literally would go and jump in the pool and like let's go, to a person that actually held back, and I didn't even know it. Like, I didn't really even know that I was holding back in areas of my life that I had been conditioned to play small in.
Mm.
And so what I found as I was helping a ton of people move forward, one of the questions that I started to ask my soul is, there's got to be a faster way. There's got to be a faster way. I spent 17 years in personal development, and there's got to be a faster way to help somebody get results and see things faster. And one night I have a dream. I had a dream, and the dream was all about the power of alignment. And I literally started to implement that dream and I started to test out the power of alignment and it just started to work. And so, and I started to discover as I took myself and my clients through that journey, I became a coach, I became a mentor, things that I never thought that were going to be part of my life. I began to speak in front of the camera. I took myself completely out of comfort zones that I never thought that leave. And I became more childlike, honestly. I became like the child that was willing to go and dive into the pool and figure it out along the way. And I think that's probably what I'm most proud of is getting back to that authenticity in my life. So today I help people that are stuck. I help entrepreneurs that are stuck, that are like ready to get unstuck and are ready to play full out in their personal life and in their relationships and their health. So having a lot of fun doing that.
It does sound like a lot of fun. So, how do you do this? I know you have a process that you take people through.
Yeah, so over the course of the last couple of years, I figured out a system. It's almost like I feel like this little inside secret sauce, that we figured out and we cracked the code to how to move somebody very quickly through creating their results. As a matter of fact, it's something they can do today. And so it has to do with like really going deep and allowing yourself to be able to ask yourself the right questions so that then you can create the shift so that then you can get the forward movement. I experienced a little bit of depression. I don't know out there, like if anybody of you all can relate to this, but sometimes when you feel stuck or you have spent way too much time in suffering, you've got these desires, right? And sometimes we can become scared of those desires, but God gave them to us. So if He gave us the desire, He also gave us the capacity to actually create. And
Mm.
so it takes the right questions. It takes a little bit of contemplation to make that shift, to create the alignment. And so actually, this is like part of my system that I'm about to launch with Creating Happy. I designed a program called Creating Happy because I decided when I stopped being in denial of what I really truly wanted and what happiness meant for me, it was really about, can I get through this 4 steps and create exactly what it is that I want to create? So,
So cool. So, you talked earlier on about this moment that happened and how you then dissected this phrase that this man, spoke over you, which truly helped you get past as you processed what was holding you back. What do you often find for other people that you work with holds them back?
yeah, I think the number one thing that I get super excited about is emotion.
Hmm.
If you can tap into your emotion and your feelings and stop being afraid of those feelings, oh my gosh, you will get to a truth that is so. One of my mentors, Melanie Ann Layer, likes to say that truth is the highest frequency. And so that guy gave me a gift because up until then, I had been in denial that what I really wanted was what I really wanted. And
Hmm.
when he said just the right words, locked eyes with me, some people might think of that as a bully, right? And for a moment there, I did think of him as like, who are you, like, to tell me, right? Do you not know? Like, look at my accolades and look at my success in business. But he had hit something in my heart that I could no longer deny. And I feel like I was so ready for that shift to happen that I honored the pain. And for the longest time, I had been taught to run from the pain, to deny the pain was there, to not even feel the pain. But I think at that moment in my life, I realized it's okay to feel the pain. It's okay to feel the sadness. It's okay to feel the jolt of, man, I want more. And I may not even know how to create that more right now, but the reality is that I do. I want more. And so one of those key shifts is to just sit with your heart, to really sit with what's happening in your body. Where are those feelings and what are they saying to you? What's the information you're hearing from them at a thought level, at an emotional level? And it's like fireworks once you figure that out.
That's so good. That's so powerful because at the end of the day, how many of us go through, similar experiences? And maybe if you're listening, you've been through a similar moment in life where something has been said to you where you felt that internal, excuse me, how dare you? And how many of us in those moments choose to bury those feelings, choose to put those feelings as far below as we can go because we don't like it. We don't like what was spoken over us. But you're giving people such permission to say, "Hey, no, your feelings matter." And let's dissect them a minute. Let's sit with them and feel what has happened because what if paying attention to those feelings is actually going to propel you forward? And so you're giving people the safety to say, "Hey, let's sit here in this a moment and look at it and dissect it." And you take people through that process, which is so profound. And I love that you're doing this. So I know there's people listening to your interview today that are in that spot. They've had something spoken over them that they're maybe even burying, or maybe too, they are dealing with the fear of what they actually do want and stepping forward into it. So, what would you tell that person today?
Yeah, it's not to be afraid of those feelings, but to actually look at to redirect that energy and that emotion. One of the things that fascinates me about men in general is that they're able to focus and get very clear very fast. I noticed this in my husband. Like it was one of the things that I was so attracted to because he can focus like no kidding. I mean, the world can be falling apart and he'll stay focused. And I was like, okay, that's pretty sexy. Like, how do you do that? Because like what I found was that, okay, so when I look at my life and I look at all the times that I have self-sabotaged, or, it was because of emotion. It was because I didn't understand it. It was because I didn't know how to process it, how to self regulate. And so, one of the things with that emotion is that if you'll get really good about self regulating, you will understand your emotion. You'll even use it in a whole different way, and you will become so amazingly focused in your life with what you do want to create, because you'll have like a superpower understanding that emotion. So understanding the emotion, self-regulation, that is the key.
Wow. Yeah, so good. What a blessing to pull out of, really a traumatic moment is like, hey, there's a gift here if you're willing to take a look at it.
And can I share something with you?
Yeah.
Because I thought it was only women. Honestly, when I went on this journey of discovery and I started doing all the research, I wrote a book called The Cinderella Way. And so I did a lot of research because I wanted to make sure that, am I really thinking like straight? Like, is this really for real? Because what I was finding is that for women, emotional self-sabotage takes us out. We get overwhelmed, we get exhausted. I remember I used to say things like, I'm tired and I'm exhausted a lot. And guess what I was? Tired and exhausted. And so what I realized was in my research is that because we're female and females are deep feelers, we have a gift, and feelings are a gift, but we get to understand how to use the gift. We get to understand how to how to actually use it in our favor. And men, right? Men, what I didn't realize up until recently, because I thought that I would be coaching a lot of women, and I did. I started off coaching a lot of women, but you would not believe I coach a lot of men today, and they actually struggle in that same way, only they self-sabotage in a completely different way than we do. And so, but the self-sabotage is real, right? And so the emotions are real. And so understanding that becomes such a big thing. And so with creating happy, that's what we do is we dive in to really like understand so that we can then use the emotion to empower us to actually get where we're going.
So good. Man, anyone
Yeah.
else want to use the gift of your feelings? I mean, I do. So,
Who would have thought?
what is that person that is listening today? What is their next step?
Yeah. So the next step is, I'm a big promoter of there are so many coaches in the world, there's so many mentors. Find your tribe, find a coach, find a mentor, okay, this is really good. Find someone who has what you want.
Mm.
That's it. If they are proof of concept, they can get you from where you're at to where you want to be. So 90% of the time, the reason why we do not get beyond the reef is because we do not have support. We don't ask for help. We don't ask for support. So I want to help you today by saying permission yourself to ask for the support.
Mm.
You can get there quickly with the right support. I love Moana. I love the movie Moana, because the first one, my daughter's all talking about the second one today, but the first one, like where she like is trying to get beyond the reef, right? And she literally like goes under the water and is like, what's the point? Like, am I really supposed to be like, she has this big desire to be beyond the reef into the unknown. And it's not till her grandmother, like, she passes away, and then there's this spiritual influence that helps her get beyond the reef. Well, it's very much, we've been designed to be connected. We've been designed to have a tribe, and there's somebody out there that has the voice that you get to hear, that you could use hearing, that will help you get beyond those struggles, those obstacles. Sometimes they're internal, sometimes they're external, but they've got the voice that God has called to get you beyond the reef. So,
I love that analogy, and that's a great reference. It's a beautiful movie. So if someone's listening and they're like, yeah, I want what Ruby's got, and I want to be connected, tell them how to find Creating Happy.
Yeah, so we've just launched Creating Happy, and we'll be doing it every single week. We've got live free master classes with an upgrade of a VIP if you'd like to join us. We can drop the link below, and you can also, I'm in San Antonio, Texas. You can also contact me through my Facebook, which is Ruby Cooley, and yeah, friend me, and we can get started for sure.
So good. Well, Ruby, thank you so much for joining us today on The Overcomers. Thank you for being willing to share some of your story, some of your pain. I know that people listening today are going to relate to what you shared, and that's really why we're here. We're here to connect those who have been hurt, who are hurting, with those who have overcome, and you have truly overcome, friend. And it's an honor to be connected to you and the light and the fire that you are. So thank you for your courage to show up today and your courage to lead with that light for other people. So
Yes, ma'am,
appreciate
we're
you.
overcomers.
That's right. Yes, we are.
Thank you for joining us on The Overcomers today. We hope Ruby's story of resilience, faith, and authenticity has inspired you as much as it has us. Remember, no matter the obstacle, you have the power to overcome. Subscribe for more uplifting stories and join us in celebrating the unshakable strength within each of us. And until next time, stay strong, stay hopeful, and keep overcoming.